and welcome back to the channel, guys. If you're just joining in, you've joined in the Central Ontario Coyote Hunters. Anyways, we're not going to reload anything for you today. I just wanted to give you a quick look at what I was doing here. So I don't clean my guns every day, probably like I should after I'm done hunting, but my 22-250 was pretty much good for it. I mean, I could have probably left it, but I decided to clean it. So a couple things I wanted to show you. Well, as these dirty rags here. I want to show you all the stuff that's came out of this here. Not overly bad, but you see, you can't really see it on that one that well. If you remove copper, which is what copper jackets do, they fill your barrel with copper. That's not copper. Copper turns out a blue color. I'm looking for one here for you. You could see a blue tinge to some of them. It hasn't been that bad. It's maybe had 15 rounds through it. Last few hunts out or something. So, but maybe a box of shells. I don't know. Not that many, not overly. But once in a while, you need to clean them. If you're out in the rain and that, you should clean them too. But what I'm using is I'm using a steel brush. If you're going to loosen up copper, you want to use steel, not brass, obviously, or you're going to leave the brass in the barrel. And so what I've done is I've had a rod like this for probably 40 years, or when they first came out, whenever that was. And about a couple of years ago, I bought a second one just to make it easier instead of switching tips all the time. So you're pushing it through with that after you loosen it up with this. So what you do is, I used to use Sweets, but this is the newer one I've been using here. Well, new to me. Hops Copper Solvent. You guys can see that. That's probably backwards, the letters and everything, but looks like that. What you do is scrub the barrel loose a bit. I'll run a couple of wet swabs down it, and I'll let it sit for a bit. And I don't mean a bit like a long time. Maybe let it sit for 5 minutes. You know, shoot a buddy a text or two while you're hanging out. Try to clean up a little bit, which I'm not going to show you the mess here. And then run a patch through, just like a patch like this, right? So you're going to get a lot of the powder residue and stuff out of there. But copper jacketed bullets, when you have a lot of copper fouling in your barrel, it will leave like a blue. The rag will have a blue tinge to it. Now, there is a chemical called Sweets. I probably have an old jar over there, and it stinks of ammonia. We used to soak one in that. You'd run it down the barrel. You'd leave it sit for about 10 minutes, and you'd run a clean cloth, and I mean, it'd be bright blue. It's really hard on the barrel, so this stuff's not so bad. And then you got this other one, Hops 2, copper cleaner. It's more of a solvent. It's not as, I don't think works as well as this one. But I use this one first, and I'll run a couple brushes with this one, like patches. When it starts to come clean, then what I did today is I've had this can of Remington stuff. I've had it for, I bet you, 10 years. Then I just soaked a patch in it, and I run a few through a couple times, and then dry ones, make sure it's nice and dry. I don't put oil in them. I don't put oil in my actions. That's the last thing I want is oil in there to collect powder residue and stuff. So if they've changed a lot, but what I have, now I did have it right here. Yeah, there it is. What I have is one of these. This is old. So you take your bolt out, right? And you slide this in, and you slide it down in where the bolt locks in. It works great on a Tikka. And see how the end's smaller? That goes right into where your chamber is. So that will help guide the brush in and the rod down the barrel, so you don't scratch it as bad or anything. And I'm going to show you something else here I bought. I've had it for a while too. So my original cleaning kit was one of these, right? Do you remember these? The old Hops ones? I've had this since I was a kid. So I'm not even going to tell you how old it is, because it's probably older than most of you guys watching. But I still have pieces of it, but it's basically my brush and brush collector here, where it's just collected, like, you know, brushes for different calibers I have. But I bought this one. I forgot I'd even had it. I bought this a couple of years ago. I use it, but not all the time, and I probably should. But after I was done cleaning it, I just sprayed it with some of the, actually I dipped it in this here one here. I dipped it in the hop. So you can use the regular hop stuff too, right? After you're done trying to remove copper. And I use this, and this here brush here, this bigger brush, you don't think it'll go down your barrel of a 22-50. That's what it's made for, that caliber. It says right on 223, which is the same caliber as 22-50. That will slide right down there. Now I used a borescope before and after. And I should have did a recording to show you, but in the chamber where the shell sits before the rifling, that it looked grungy in there. It did. It looked really grungy. And I run this through like 3 times. Just pushed it down, brought it back out, shoved it down again, pushed it out. And then all of a sudden I'm getting dirty patches again. And I'm thinking, well, maybe it's this, right? Maybe it's just from the copper and that and off the brush. And then I run the patches through, and then they came clean fairly quickly. Then I took, this is a brush off a 40 for a 40 cal. I took that and I just wrapped shotgun patch around it, a 12 gauge one, and stuck it in there and stuck it in the chamber, and then just twisted it with my hand, right? And then I run the borescope down again. It was really clean in there. So if you guys are just scrubbing barrels, I mean, there's a great tool right there. They never had these when I was a kid growing up. But those soft brushes, they only go one way. You have to screw it off at the other end, but that works great for cleaning the chambers in there. Keep them clean too, especially if you're reloading and you're having that bullet stuck right out just off the lands and grooves. That little bit of condensation in there in the winter, that can wreak havoc on you when it freezes your bullet in if it's really close, and then you go to pull your bullet out of the chamber with a bolt, and the bullet stays there, and the casing comes out, and the powder goes all over, and your hunt's over. Anyways, and another thing I could show you here, I had this since 2006. I bought a lead sled to shoot off recently, but this is what I've used all these years for sighting in a gun. Just this here. I bought it when I was away on a trip. Let's see. Benchmaster, the Cadillac of rifle rests, the Cadillac. Banks, Oregon, USA. And they got a 1-800-477-0762 on it. There's a patent number and everything. That thing's held up. So I've had that since 2006. You can adjust it up and down with this to make this go up and down. And then there's notches in there where you can adjust it even bigger. And there's a level underneath the pad on it. A little strap where the butt of the gun fits in. And then you can adjust this on this end or your 2 front ones. I mean, it's not as heavy as a lead sled sitting there, but I'll tell you, I've shot a 5-shot group off that at 100 yards and pretty much same hold them. So it works pretty good too. I don't know. So if you got something like that when you're cleaning your gun or your rifle or your shotgun or whatever, it's good. You can just sit it in there and you don't have to worry about it. Like when we were kids growing up, we never had this stuff. We would take the rod and shove the rod down there to clean a shotgun down the barrel. You just hang on to it. But it is so much easier when you sit the rifle in the rest. And you can scrub away, and your back wall, mine's a bit dirty from stuff coming out of the end of the barrel. But it is a wrecked room, so to speak. Anyways, I just thought I'd share that with you guys. This is what I've been using to take copper out. And this is what I used after it today. You can buy these. I should show you my borescope here too, if I don't fall my arse in here. This I bought off Amazon. It's a borescope. Professional industrial endoscope. Right there. And it wasn't a lot of money. But I'll tell you, the stuff it comes with, right? You've got these here is like your little mirror that goes on the end of it. I'm not sure what this orange thing is. It's a stop for the cable. It sends you a bunch of these little alcohol pads to clean that mirror. There's a little mirror in there. It just plugs into your phone. That's why it's gonna be hard for me to make a video off my phone or whatever. But you shove this into the bottom of your phone and this thing will light up. You use an app and you just slide it down your bore, and you can see like a close-up of all your rifling and everything. And I mean, you could even take this off, look in your ear if you wanted to. I mean, you could check for a clogged sink with it, whatever. It's good to know. And then you know if you're getting all the copper out of your barrel, because you'll see it. It'll be like a gold color down there. But it's just an endoscope, and it's a dirt cheap one. Dirt cheap one off Amazon. I don't think it cost me more than $100. I'd have to go look it up to see what it costs, but I don't know what they're worth now. But I bought it a few years ago, and yeah, if you guys are interested, hey, treasure woman. Bot? Is it a bot? Made in China. Hello. Shenzhen Deep Sea Innovation. But hey, like China's coming out with some good stuff, you know. But what do? You're looking for a borescope. You don't want to pay $500 for one. There's one right there for you. I picked it up to try it and could see that there was copper in my barrel. So if you guys are losing any accuracy at all in your rifles, you know, if you go from a half-inch group to say 1.5 inches, 2 inches, or whatever, and you can't figure out what's wrong, before you do anything, clean your barrels. Check them. I don't know if you guys like to spend that kind of money or whatever, but what you like to do, if you want to be able to see what you're cleaning, then just get one of those scopes. You can shove it right down there and you'll see if it's full of copper or not. If it's full of copper, clean it. You'll get your accuracy back. It's plain and simple. I don't clean my gun every time. Like when we were growing up, it was like, if you say you went out duck hunting, you came back, first thing you did was you cleaned your gun. You cleaned your birds, you cleaned your gun, put everything away. But if you're doing a lot of hunting and you're out shooting coyotes all the time and you're out hunting a lot with your rifle and you're shooting quite a bit, I mean, that's a lot of work to clean it every time you go out. So I would suggest maybe every week or every 2 weeks, or maybe even after 20 rounds or 30 rounds. If you're out in the wet a lot, you're not, especially if you're not shooting stainless, bring it home and clean it. But that's my life for today. It's Saturday. It's a day off work, and I don't think I'm going to reload anything. I see I've still got this tray from last time. I haven't even put away yet. So what I'm thinking I'm going to do sometime soon here, when I get some more brass that needs deprimed and resized and that, I'm going to do a video and show you guys how I do one. I'm just going to take like 1 or 2 shells and go through the steps and show you my method. And here's another thing for you too. I had these old fishing rod holders for a long time. They're great. They make good cleaning rod holders, by the way. If you pick up some real cheap fishing rod holder, they work good for that. Get stuff off, not falling over and things like that. But anyways, that's all I got for you today. You could have watched me push the rod through the barrel and the stuff coming out, but I don't think it'd be too exciting. I just thought I'd show you the aftermath of the cloths here, and I've got maybe 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and I threw a couple right in the garbage. So I've got probably less than 20 of these here, square patches. You can buy them in most of the gun stores now. It's probably easier and cheaper than trying to get a piece of cloth and cut them up in those little squares. And that's all it takes. It took me like 10 minutes. And now I've got a clean barrel and a clean action, clean my bolt, and all ready to get out and do some more hunting. So thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and watch some of the videos. Hit that thing where you look on there and it says playlists. You want to see coyote videos, you want to help guys on their channels, go to playlists and watch the playlists, watch the videos. And there's, I don't know, I've got close to 300 on there. There's some deer ones, there's some fox ones, there's trapping ones. When a buddy of mine gets up from the States the end of this month, I'm going to put together some more trapping videos. There's some coyotes between these 2 farms or whatever. They've been hanging around. They're mangy, dirty, and they're starting to run around their house, but they won't come to a call. Call wise or something. So maybe somebody shot at him and missed him at one point. I don't think it was me, but you never know. I do miss once in a while. My buddy's coming up. He says, "Been a long time since I run traps with you." And I said, "Well, I got a couple of coyotes that we're going to trap. And we're going to show you how to use a drag and show you how to catch up with a coyote in a drag and catch up with them quick and easy. We'll show you. Make a couple little videos there. It's thawing out up here. It's been an easy winter for the deer, which is good. So the coyotes are probably having a little bit of a hard time catching deer now that the snow is very low. The deer aren't sinking. They can run easier on game in general, right? Because it's warmer out. It's not quite as cold this winter. We've had some good cold snaps, but it's probably not a good winter to be out ice fishing. So we're going to try and take a few in the trap, and we're going to see how many we can call in and shoot in about a week on my next week off work. So stay tuned, watch some videos, and I hope you enjoy your weekend. If for those of you guys that are watching the Super Bowl, enjoy the show. Let me know who wins, will you? Maybe comment on this later and let me know, because I'm probably not going to watch it. Anyways, have a great weekend, guys, and thanks for joining in, and we'll chat yous all later.